welcome back to another B.hooked Crochet video tutorial. I'm your host Brittany, and today I'm going to be showing you how to crochet the Lovely Layers flower. Today I'm going to be using the Red Heart Boutique Unforgettable yarn, and this color is called Petunia. And I will also be using a size H or 5mm crochet hook. And it's optional if you want to have a bead to finish off your flower. You can do so, or a button works as well. You're also going to need a pair of scissors and a darning needle. So let's go ahead and get started. One thing I will say about this pattern is that it's actually very flexible. You can see the size of this flower is about 3 inches, wide, 3 inches tall. And that's making it with the 5mm hook. Now you can actually change the hook size and the yarn width a little bit. Now they still consider this Red Heart Boutique a 4, but if you ask me, I think it's a little bit thinner than some of the other worsted weight yarns that are on the market. So if you were to say use Red Heart Soft and a size 6mm hook, you would get a flower that is this size here, and you can see it's considerably larger than the other one. So I'm going to be demonstrating with the 5mm and the Red Heart Boutique Unforgettable yarn, but just know that you can change it as you need to. Alright, to get started with this pattern, what we need to do first is create a slip knot. So for those of you who are completely new, go ahead and take the end of your yarn, wrap it around your finger like so, pull the back loop over the front, and then grab that other loop and pull it up and over your finger. Now there are other ways to make a slip knot, that's just how I like to do it. Okay, the pattern says to start off by chaining 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And from here we want to create a loop. So we're going to insert our hook into the first chain that we made, just like so, and you can just go under one of those loops if you'd like, and yarn over, pull it through, hold on to the bottom of it with your fingers there and pull it through that first loop. And now you'll have to kind of open this up a little bit to see your loop. And what I do to make it a little bit easier is stick my middle finger like right in the loop. That way it holds it open for me and I know where to work, because it can kind of get a little confusing, especially if you're new to this. Now the next step, the pattern says to chain 1, and so we're gonna go ahead and chain 1, and then we want to single crochet 10 times into the center of this ring. So just go ahead and insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through both. That's how you do a single crochet. So that's 1, do it again. This is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, and what we want to do, normally we would join in our chain 1, but I want there to be exactly 10 loops all the way around, and I want to actually start off in the first stitch. So we're going to join into that first stitch. So see this V right here? That's where you want to insert your hook under both of those loops, yarn over, pull through, and then pull through the loop that's on your hook. Okay, that completes round number 1. To start off round number 2, what we want to do, we're going to be working in the back loops only. Okay, so if we were to go ahead and chain 3 right here, we wouldn't exactly be in the spot that we want to, so we want to slip stitch over to where we need to start. And we want to start off in this first back loop here. So just insert your hook into that back loop only, yarn over, pull through and through. Okay, we're slip stitching into that back loop. Now we're going to be double crocheting, so we want to chain up 3. That's going to count as 1 double crochet. Okay, and what we're working on here is the center portion of the flower, so these inner petals, and we're going to have 5 double crochets for each petal. So this counts as 1, so we're going to double crochet 4 more times into that same back loop, and you can see it's probably going to stretch up on you a little bit, so you can see it's just right there. So go ahead and insert your hook and double crochet 4 more times. Okay, that gives us 5 double crochets into that first back loop. Now what we want to do is single crochet into the next back loop, and you can see right here is my first petal, and the next stitch is right here, right next to it, and we want to work in the back loop only. So we're just going to insert our hook right into the back loop and single crochet. That's going to secure the petal and kind of give it a curved shape to it. So what we want to do next is 5 double crochets into the next back loop. You can see my back loop is right here, so I'm going to double crochet 5 times. Okay, that creates the second petal. To finish it off, we want to single crochet into the next stitch, the back loop only. Okay, and that's our repeat. We're going to do that all the way around. So the next one, you're going to double crochet 5 times, single crochet into the next loop. Go ahead and continue that, and we'll meet back up when you're done. Okay, I finished up my last petal, and I'm going to go ahead and put the last single crochet into my last back loop here, just like so. Okay, and one of the interesting features about this pattern is that for the center ring of petals, it's actually a different texture, and that's because what we do in this next step, instead of using the instead of doing it like this, where you can kind of see these petals are curving towards you, to make them curve away, we're just going to take our work and rotate it clockwise. Okay, and then from here, what we want to do is slip stitch into the remaining loops. Now when you hold it on this side, see this band that you see all the way around here? Those are your remaining loops, and that's what we're going to be working in on the next round. So to get it started, what we want to do is where we have our hook from our single crochet, we're just going to insert it in the back loop that's directly behind it, and we're going to slip stitch into that. Okay, so now from here, what we're going to be doing is setting the foundation for the next round of petals. So you can kind of fold these petals down to keep them out of your way. What we want to do is chain 3, and then we're going to skip a stitch, and we're going to slip stitch into the next one. So I'm skipping here, slip stitching here. Okay, now we'll chain 3 again. I am skipping a stitch and slip stitching here. Now this step you want to kind of be careful, because sometimes it's a little bit hard to see the remaining loops. So, but if you do happen to mess up, it's going to throw off your count in the end. So you want to pay attention to this step. Okay, we're just going to repeat this all the way around. We should have a total of 5 of these little chain gap spaces by the time we're finished, because we want to have 5 petals. Okay, and I'm on my last one. You can see I've got the one I'm going to skip here and the one I'm going to work into, and it happens to be right next to where I started, which is exactly what I want. Alright, so now from here, to start off making the petals, what we want to do is slip stitch into the gap space, because if we work right here, we're technically in between where the petals are going to be. So go ahead and insert your hook right into your very first gap space and slip stitch. Okay, now we're going to be working with double crochets again, so we're going to chain up 3, and we want to have a total of 10 double crochets into each one of these gap loop spaces. And since the chaining of 3 counts as 1 for this first time around, we're going to double crochet 9 more times. Okay, so that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, now from here we want to kind of join this this petal down a little bit, so it, you know, gives us kind of a fan sort of effect. And you can see here I have this this loop that's kind of gapped up, and what that is from where I slip stitched into that last back loop. And so what we want to do is slip stitch there again. So insert your hook right into that space and slip stitch right in, and see how that kind of pulled the petal down, so that way when we start the next one, it's going to kind of fan up just like the other one is. Okay, so from here you can see this is my next gap space right there, and I'm just going to jump right into double crocheting. Okay, there's no chaining or anything like that. Just go ahead and double crochet 10 into that next gap space. Okay, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You kind of pull these stitches to the side because it's going to get a little bit tight putting that many stitches into the same space, okay? You probably need to do that, especially if you're working with a thicker yarn. Okay, and that is 10. And now, just like before, I can see that opening there where I slip stitched before, and I'm going to just go right into that space and slip stitch. Okay, so that's your repeat. So go ahead and finish up this round. I believe this is round number 4 on your pattern if you're following along. Put 10 double crochets into each of these chain gap spaces, slip stitch into the slip stitch space there, and we'll meet back up when you're done. Okay, I've finished up my last petal, and now just like before, what we want to do is slip stitch into that space. You can see my gap is right in there. So I'm just going to go ahead and slip stitch, and that's going to complete round number 4. To start off round number 5, what we're going to do is add another round on top of this petal, because I want it to be a little bit pointier, so we're going to be creating that shape. And this was our chaining of 3 before, so technically that does count as a double crochet. So what we want to do is insert our hook into the 3rd chain. So you may have to stretch it out a little bit to see. I've got it 1, 2, and 3 here. We're going to slip single crochet into that 1st chain, and then to continue adding more layers on there, the next stitch we want to do a half double crochet, and you can kind of see this next stitch is a little bit hard to find, but right here you can see it. When you've got your work loose, it kind of hides itself, but when you stretch it out, you can see that there is actually a V there. Okay, we're going to half double crochet into the next one. So yarn over, insert your hook under both of those loops, draw up your loop, yarn over, and pull through all 3. That's a half double crochet. The next 2 stitches, we're going to do double crochets. Okay, in the next stitch we're going to put 2 double crochets into the same stitch. Alright, and now to form the point at the top, we're going to chain 2. And then we're going to double crochet 2 into the next stitch. We're going to put 2 in both, 2 into that same stitch. So that's 1 and 2. And as you can see, it's formed a little point there, having those chains. Okay, we're going to put a double crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. And now the next stitch, we're going to half double crochet. And the last stitch, we're going to single crochet. And that's going to be our pattern all the way around. Okay, on this round we don't have to slip stitch to join in between each of the petals. We're just going to go right into the single crochet. This one gets a little bit tricky, and you may have to count you know, until you get used to it, because if you miss the first stitch, then it's going to throw off your count at the other side, and your petals will be a little bit lopsided. So I find it easiest to stretch this out right here, and when you do, you can see the first stitch right here. But when you keep it in by itself, it's a little bit hard to see. So I stretch it out, and we're going to single crochet just like before into that space. Now we're going to half double crochet into the next one. We're going to put a double crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. And we're going to put 2 double crochets into the next stitch. And we're going to chain 2. So now we're at the point again. Okay, and we're going to double crochet 2 into the next stitch. Now we're going to put 1 double crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. Now the next stitch we're going to half double crochet, and the last stitch we're going to single crochet. Okay, that's your repeat. So go ahead and finish that for the remaining 3 petals, and we'll meet back up when you're done. Okay, I've just finished up my last petal, so I'm at the end of round 5. And now what we want to do to finish off is we want to just slip stitch into this space right here. Okay, so I've got my last single crochet here. Normally we would skip over that gap, but what I'm going to do is just insert my hook and slip stitch. And that finishes off our flower. Okay, so from here, all you need to do is just go ahead and bind off and weave in your ends. And it's a little bit wrinkled at first when you finish it, so if you kind of just block it a little bit with your fingers, you could even wet block it if you wanted to. But that's basically it. It's really quick. It's really easy. You know, it only took me about 15 minutes or so to make one of these flowers, and it would be a great embellishment for just about anything. You could put it on a hat, a bag. I've made lots of these little flowers, and I'll go ahead and pull some of them out. I love the whole Red Heart Boutique Unforgettable line, so I have made basically one in every color that I have. And so what I plan on doing with these flowers is putting them on a headband for newborns. There's a lot of people that like photo props for newborns, so that's what I'm going to do with mine. Like I said, you could use them for just about anything. It's quick and it's easy, and I think that no matter what stage you are in crocheting, I think that you can do this flower with no problem at all. So if you liked this video, give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to help. You can leave your questions in the comments below. You can also, if you're following me on my blog, you can go to the pattern support. There will be a thread that's specific to this pattern, so if you have questions, you can leave them there. If you want to show me your work, I would love that too. You can post pictures in the forum, or you can post them on my Facebook page. And that's all for today. On behalf of B.hooked Crochet, this was a video tutorial how to crochet the Lovely Layers flower. It's a free pattern that's available on my blog. And until next time, we'll see you soon.